Hey, Dr. Tam and Lakeisha here. Today we want to answer a lot of the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, especially about the Ultra Slim. I mean, we have been getting questions. People on Facebook have been asking us. People on Instagram have been asking us. In email, I think people are touching us in multiple ways.
Everywhere.
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 Now,
yes.
I'm going to go through a list of questions. I have it memorized.
Okay.
And the biggest question is that people ask is, number one, how many sessions do I need? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So for that question, everybody's body type is totally different.
Okay.
For the number of sessions that they need. That's why our consultations are absolutely free when a patient comes in. Having a one-on-one consultation with me will help me, assess what is going on with the patient first, if we can help, and how many treatments they would definitely need. So it depends on the patient's body type and exactly what they're looking for, their area of concern. So there's a lot of factors that play into that question, which is a very good question, but without a consultation, it is definitely hard to determine that per patient.
So what you're saying is a mom that comes in, or maybe someone who's had just recently had a baby versus someone who maybe just want to tone up. Like we had a patient recently where they just want to tone, just get really, really toned. She wants to see the cuts in her body.
Yeah.
That will be different than, say, a mom who just recently had a little one who wants like a quote unquote mommy makeover.
Absolutely.
Right? So now how do we determine that? That's a big question as well.
Absolutely. The key factor to determine that particular question is, do you have subcutaneous fat? Do you have visceral fat? All of those are, very good factors within the light. Just because the light itself only penetrates so far from the skin, the fat cells in that area, they only penetrate so far. So, someone that comes in and they just want to tone the area, they're more likely not to have a lot of subcutaneous fat cells, just because they're, working on the area, they're toning the area. So, in those cases, they may need minimal amount of sessions. In other cases where you do have subcutaneous fat, which the light does love, by the way, in those areas, we may recommend, more sessions, or that you do them more frequently as well.
Now, we had a patient that recently, I saw her in here twice a week because she was trying to go to a trip.
Yeah.
And it was a sunny place with the beach and everything.
Yeah.
And she says, well, you know what? And I think after talking with you, I said, wow, this patient's coming in, twice a week. And when we looked at her history, it was because she wanted to achieve a certain goal. So it could be done more often, and some people needs to be done a little bit less often. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have people that have crunch time. They have deadlines, of course, and we want to help people meet those deadlines.
Right, getting married and all that, right?
Exactly. So, you can do it as soon as 72 hours. The fat cells stay open for 72 hours after the treatment is done.
Oh, okay.
So you can do it every 72 hours, but with certain body types, it's not recommended to do that much. So if you have someone that just wants to tone, of course, if they have a crunch time, we will definitely help in that situation, but it's not as necessary to do. You can do it once a week with someone that wants to tone. Other patients that do have, certain areas that they're concerned of and, more visible fat in certain areas, then yes, we may recommend that they do it every 4 days, every 3 days. So it per patient, once again. Yeah.
Right. What are some of the situations where the Ultra Slim will not work for? It works for so many people and it's so powerful. There's a reason why it's the only FDA approved red light for fat loss. We're not talking about, losing sweat. We're talking about FDA for fat loss.
Absolutely.
What are some of the people that cannot use the Ultra Slim? I know I'm being like a little devil's advocate here, but I'd like to know who is it not good for?
honestly, it plays a good role. That's a really, really good question that you ask, because health factors are the only really factors that come into play, and health is very important, that we have. So people with certain health factors, definitely we do not recommend for the light. So autoimmune diseases are one of them. We don't want to come in and we don't want to disrupt your, immune system. So those are the great factors of you not being able to do the treatment. But other than that, it's made for a lot of body types. It's, I may have a recommendation with certain people that they may get on a, nutritional part first to help break up some of that fat so that it does become surface fat, so that their belly is more jiggly in certain areas, so that it can be targeted
Instead
by
of
the
that
light.
firm-
That firm, tight. When you get that firm, tight belly, they found nooks and crannies. They're in there hiding. So what I would recommend is that you break it up. Not that you wouldn't be able to do the light, but just we need to break up some of that fat in the certain areas so that the light can be targeted.
And that's where the nutrition
Yes.
comes into play as well. Some of the
Yes.
supplements that we have are
Absolutely.
very effective in doing that. Now, to elaborate a little bit more, and you mentioned a couple times now on visceral fat.
Yeah.
Visceral fat, for all the audience out there that doesn't know what it is, it's the fat that is tucked in between the organs, underneath your layers of muscles. And that is, as a matter of fact, the most dangerous fat there is. I was really excited to hear about one of our patients this morning where she has tried every single weight loss program out there. And you came in and told me this, that after the first week, she says she's been trying to lose weight for months and could lose no more than 2 to 3 pounds at a time, and then she gained it back and some. What did she lose in that first week? And what made you so excited about her losing and everything?
9 pounds.
Wow.
9 pounds. And the greatest factor is she had a lot of different factors in per the consultation that we did have together. And there are some health factors and medications that she does take, which sometimes, as we know, medications bump heads with you trying to lose weight. So they interfere with what you're trying to do with your body, and they slow the process down. Not that you can't lose the weight, they just slow the process down. This patient took, everything that I said, went home, got straight to it and followed everything step by step that I asked her to do. And she actually was like, a lot of this stuff that I cooked together is so good. The way you're telling me to season the food, the way you're telling me to prepare the food, what I need to be eating looks so good. The moment that she walked into the office, Dr. Tam, I seen from her picture that we have attached to her profile.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Big difference already.
Big difference.
Yeah.
So it was a very exciting factor to me to know that she's tried everything. And, usually that's what I get is a lot of people that try everything and they're at a brick wall and they come to me in a state of, I need your help. And to be able to see 9 pounds in 1 week from someone who could not achieve it doing other regimens is definitely a success story here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the Ultra Slim, right?
Yes.
And it's the reason why that is so exciting and is because it's one of those things where during the FDA study, people on their first 32-minute session lost on average about 1.5 liters of fat.
Yes.
Okay, 3.5 inches in overall 6 measurements,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's what the craze is on it. It's like, it's as if they were running on a treadmill for about 12 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that being said, what what are your typical losses that you see? I mean, you're doing measurements every single time, or what's happening here?
So it varies again per patient. I do measurements the first treatment because, as you know, we do have that guarantee of the 2 inches. So we do a measurement right before treatment, right after treatment. And then I do measurements every 3 visits if patients do, multiple treatments. So we do that. And, on an average, usually in every 3 visits, I'm seeing it can be anywhere from like 4 to 5 inches. Wow. Every 3 visits, with the combined areas that are being measured,
right.
And it also helps me to determine what areas of focus that people want to do, what areas of focus of people that, they're saying, oh, the top portion of my stomach is targeting a lot better than the lower portion. So let's try to focus more on that area. And, it gives us factors to be able to do that. But, on an average, I can see anywhere, my top person in the years that I've done this, after 8 treatments has lost a total of 18 inches.
Whoa.
18
inches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
After 8 treatments.
8 treatments.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was she excited or not?
Oh
my gosh.
Very excited.
Okay. Now, once again, playing the devil's advocate here.
Yep.
What's the least you have seen someone lose? And after maybe talking with the patient, why do you think that was? Mm-hmm. And then how did you go about maybe giving her tips, or how do we work around that? What happened there?
Absolutely. So, it's great that you play devil's advocate because
people are asking these questions.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I want them to be answered.
Absolutely.
In this kind of FAQ video.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely a good question because, number one policy here in our office is honesty. And to say that every patient that's walked through the door has lost the 2 inches, they haven't. They haven't. I've had 3 patients in the years that I've been doing this that have not lost the 2 inches in their first treatment. And the key factors for those patients were visceral fat was definitely one of the patients, which, was definitely voiced to the patient before we move forward with the treatment.
But they wanted to try it.
They wanted to try it. Okay. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
understood.
Anyways, so that was one factor. The other factor was 2 patients that I had that, I believe ate before they came here. So it's, we ask that you do not eat an hour before or 2 hours after treatment.
Right.
If you eat in that hour before, you can disrupt. We ask that you drink a lot of water before, you come in and do the treatment. So that way your lymphatic system can flush out. So, I do believe that they ate during that time. I did have one patient where I believe that she did everything that was right and she just didn't have a lot of subcutaneous fat.
Right. She was probably more toned, would you say?
Yeah, she was definitely toned. She had really good muscle definition under there. And she was actually another patient that we said, hey, we'll try it out if you would like to move forward with it. But I always do touch and feel the area. We do a belly caliber beforehand. And I don't like to toot my own horn, but I do think that I'm very good at assessing different areas. So, these are patients that did go into the treatment knowing that there could be possibilities of, them not losing the 2 inches, either because they don't have the subcutaneous fat and they have really good muscle definition and they did eat beforehand and they still wanted to try the treatment out, or they just had visceral fat.
Right.
So, yeah.
What are some of the things that we try to do to make sure that the patients have the best success afterwards? What are their after protocols? What do they have to do? Some people are worried that, oh my gosh, once I do this, I can't eat anything anymore.
No.
And it's like, I said, no, it's not that you can't eat anything anymore. You just have to cut out things that promote.
Absolutely.
Extra inflammation, extra fat buildup in the body.
Absolutely.
Which makes sense, right? Like alcohol being one of them.
Yes.
You don't want to do the light and then for the next few days, go party and have drinks because you will impede the liver function, because when the liver is processing the alcohol, it's not processing fat.
Absolutely.
Right? What are other things that we tell them to do that people should know about before doing this?
Definitely. Drinking plenty of water. It helps the fat travel through the lymphatic system, and it, helps everything flush out. Water is hydrating to your body. So, of course, you have to keep the hydration in the body for the fat to travel through the lymphatic system in the safest manner to do. We also ask that you don't eat for 2 hours after the treatment, and that's to avoid anything going back into those cells. We always ask for clean eating. Clean eating is always good to do. So, we say just maintain a clean eating habit. And then we ask that you don't go for the next 72 hours while the fat cells are open, do any strenuous exercise. And that's more because of the dehydration factor, is we do not want to get you dehydrated because your lymphatic system's tied up. So, yeah.
But then after the treatment, we do put them on the vibration
Absolutely.
to really get rid of that fat even more just by the whole body vibration.
Absolutely.
That's part of the treatment protocol.
So program. It does ask for you to do a 10-minute of vibration, and what it does is it helps break up the fat. It helps stimulate that area.
Stimulate the
and
lymphatic.
break up. Right.
Oh,
a lot of us
see
big fat, and they think that this is a fat cell. Well, really, there's a million fat cells inside of there, and the more we start breaking them off, the easier they are to die off on their own.
Right.
So it stimulates.
Not so much die off, but they shrink.
Yeah.
And then the fat exits.
Yes.
Now, here's the big question. Once that fat is gone, right? Is the fat gone? Like the fat cells once is gone. People have asked. And I've previously told them that I said, once the fat is gone, it's not coming back. So the fat that's gone is permanent. But if you are to try to go for a buffet, every other day, right, those fat cells that has shrunk like a water balloon, it'll expand back up.
Absolutely.
Yep. Now this is a lot safer than say liposuction.
Absolutely.
A lot safer than the CoolSculpting. And I want to kind of touch bases on that. Is now what's the difference mainly?
So the difference between what we do and what a lot of other places that do, liposuction, CoolSculpting, what's the difference is, number one, they are killing and destroying the fat cells in the body. So it's something that we do not do. We do not promote killing or destroying any type of fat cell in the body because it's something that your body's not doing naturally.
Right, it's not natural.
Absolutely. So that's what causes the fat to come back, is when you're just killing them off. And they promote back because losing weight and shedding fat is definitely not what the body promotes to do. But if you do it in a healthy manner and do it to where your body feels like it's doing it on its own, you're more likely to keep it off.
Because we've seen patients where they go through liposuction and where they go through the CoolSculpting.
Yes.
And when the fat comes back, because they actually killed off the fat cells, it's called
lumps and bumps.
Lumps and bumps. Yeah. Lumps and bumps. And then the technical term, I just found it the other day, is called metamorphic fat.
Oh.
Metamorphic fat is fat that starts depositing in different areas of the body. That's where different lumps and bumps, and sometimes people get that lump back here or in their back, and it's just a clump of fat because the body has nowhere to deposit that fat. So it just puts it some random place because you lost the ability of the fat in the belly or the buttocks. Now you're getting it everywhere. I mean, that's what.
And it most likely goes where there is abundance of other fat cells at.
Right.
So if you have, for example, CoolSculpting targets an area like this big. Right. So if you have that big on your stomach, but you have a stomach that has other areas that are bigger too, and for cost reasons, let's say you can't do multiple sessions. So you've destroyed all these fat cells in this area here. Not all of them, but some of them you've destroyed in that area. What is left in that area is going to travel to the next area of the stomach, causing flat here.
So because you're the one that does the treatment, you've seen a flat part of the area, but other parts of the area, they start bulging out.
Absolutely.
Because, oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's very common.
See, because I don't do the treatments, I've never seen that.
It's very common. It's, I would say out of 10 patients, I would say about 8 come
who's
in.
done
Absolutely.
the treatments, who is now experiencing that.
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. I hope that a lot of people out there learned a lot today about what UltraSlim is, and we want to thank Lakeisha for her professional, everything that she's seen, share her stories, and I hope that everyone is able to learn a lot out there. So, Lakeisha, how should people get in contact with our office to schedule an appointment?
Definitely you can contact the office. We're on various amounts of social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. You can definitely message us there or go to our website at Vacaville Weight Loss and you can send in an inquiry and we will get in touch with you.
And the newest thing that we're starting to do, that vacuum butt lift, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother video.
We'll do a whole nother video
Absolutely.
next time.
Stay tuned.